You've been told your body's a machine, that it runs on fuel, that it breaks down over time, that it can be upgraded, hacked, optimized. But what if that story was never true? What if your body isn't some mechanical vessel you're trapped in, but a direct expression of your awareness? What if your breath wasn't just air, but a sacred rhythm, a pulse of consciousness flowing through form? We've learned to look at our bodies from the outside, to analyze parts, to isolate symptoms, to measure, compare, control. But that kind of seeing is only skin deep, because beneath every heartbeat, beneath every cell, there is something wordless, watching. And that something is you. Today we're going to turn inward, not to dissect, but to remember, not to understand in the usual way, but to feel your body as the living edge of consciousness. Because once you see your body not as a thing, but as a flowing, unfolding awareness, everything changes. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is presence. And it begins right now. Take a breath. Feel your body from the inside. Let's begin. Long before science mapped the body, wisdom traditions lived it. Long before diagrams, before equations, before clinical definitions, there was presence. Presence that felt the pulse of life in the fingertips. Presence that listened to the whispers of breath. Presence that understood the body is not a problem to solve, but a portal to awaken. In the modern world, we tend to treat language as a to means to explain, to describe, to label. We use it to organize our experience, to bring clarity to the unknown. But language, in its deepest essence, is not just for communication. It is a mirror, it is a path. It is the way consciousness reflects itself back to itself. When you speak, when you think, when you name what you feel, you are shaping your experience of reality. Not because you are manipulating truth, but because you are engaging in a dance between awareness and expression. And nowhere is that dance more intimate than in the body. You see, your body is not just made of cells and tissues, it is made of knowing. Every sensation is a form of intelligence. Every movement is a phrase in the language of presence. Every discomfort is not just physical, it's a message. But most of us were never taught how to read it. We were taught to silence pain, to override exhaustion, to push past the signals, to treat the body like a machine, obedient when convenient, replaceable when broken. Yet, deep within many ancient traditions, Buddhism, Taoism, the Vedic sciences, there is a radically different view. These traditions speak of the body not as an object, but as an extension of awareness. Not as something separate from spirit, but as spirit in motion, spirit in texture, spirit in rhythm. To them, language is sacred not because it is accurate, but because it points towards something beyond itself. A place where words dissolve into silence, where labels give way to direct experience, where you no longer say, I have a body, but I am this presence that includes a body. You might be wondering, why does this matter? Why does it help to think of the body as awareness expressing itself? Because it shifts everything. It changes how you relate to discomfort. It changes how you meet illness. It changes how you listen, not just with your ears, but with your skin, your spine, your breath. Suddenly, the goal is not to fix the body, but to know it, to inhabit it, to witness it from the inside, with compassion instead of criticism, with wonder instead of worry. And in this knowing, something opens. A space, a silence, a remembering. You begin to sense, I am not in this body the way a passenger sits in a car. I am this awareness. And this body is how awareness feels itself. When you get angry, when you fall in love, when you feel pain, when you feel peace, your body is the landscape of those experiences. It is the stage upon which consciousness plays out its infinite possibilities. And just as AI models are learning to translate complex languages from DNA to protein, from speech to thought, you too can begin to translate the language of your body, but not with algorithms, with presence, with the breath, with the softening of the jaw, with the quiet surrender of thought into sensation. This is not a skill you learn in school. This is ancient memory. Your body already knows how to do this. It just needs you to listen. So pause right now. Feel the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the subtle vibration in your hands. You're not thinking about the body, you're being in the body. This is a kind of knowing deeper than intellect. It is somatic wisdom. It is awareness returning to itself through form. You don't need the right philosophy. You don't need the perfect meditation technique. You only need willingness. Willingness to stop, to feel, to be. Because when you recognize that your body is a way consciousness explores itself, you stop seeing it as separate. You stop judging it. You start loving it, not as an idea, but as a sacred, living expression of who you truly are. And from that love, healing begins, not from control, but from connection. The next time you feel a sensation, pleasant or uncomfortable, instead of asking what's wrong, ask instead, what is this part of me trying to show me? Ask with curiosity, ask with care, and then listen, feel, trust. Because the body you have is not a mistake. It is not a burden. It is not separate from your path. It is the path. And every step you take in awareness brings you closer to the truth you've always carried. In your bones, in your breath, in the sacred language of being alive. Words are powerful. They can guide, reveal, awaken. They can soothe pain, spark insight, offer connection. But there is a truth you've likely felt quietly, in moments of stillness, that words, as beautiful as they are, can only go so far. There comes a point in every journey where language fails, not because it's wrong, but because it's too small for what you're touching. Imagine trying to describe the taste of a mango to someone who's never had one. You could talk about sweetness, texture, warmth, sunlight, but none of it would be it. None of it would be the experience itself. To know it, they'd have to taste it. And so it is with your body, with presence, with consciousness. You can study anatomy, you can read spiritual texts, you can memorize every affirmation ever written. But until you feel it for yourself, it remains a concept. The deepest truths live just beyond the reach of language. And that's not a limitation, it's an invitation. Because language is like a finger pointing to the moon. It helps you look in the right direction, but it is not the moon. You've probably had moments like this, moments when you tried to explain something real, something tender, and you stumbled. The words weren't enough, and yet you knew it was real. That knowing, that quiet certainty beneath the words, that's presence. That's what we're pointing to now. In many Eastern traditions, this is honored, not resisted. In Taoism, for example, the very first verse of the Tao Te Ching begins, The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. In other words, the moment you try to capture reality with words, you reduce it. Not because language is bad, but because the truth is too alive to be boxed in. In Zen Buddhism, they speak of crippled speech, language that limps toward the truth, knowing full well it can't arrive. But still, we speak, we write, we listen, because the gesture matters. The pointing matters. Language, when used with humility, becomes sacred. It doesn't try to replace experience. It invites it. So let's take this into the body. You could say, my chest feels tight. But what is that tightness really? Is it anxiety, grief, protection, old memory? You could say, I'm sad. But is it sadness or the space beneath it, the longing, the love you were never allowed to express? Every word is a doorway, not the destination. And the more gently you hold your language, the more deeply you'll enter your actual experience. This is where meditation comes in, because meditation is not about silencing the mind. It's about becoming quiet enough to feel what words can't touch. Close your eyes for a moment. Notice what's here beneath the narration, the stories, the labels. What do you feel? Don't name it, just feel it. Breathe with it. Let it be what it is, raw, real, undefined. This is the realm of the sacred, the place where awareness meets life without filters, where you stop trying to understand and start allowing. And it's in this space that true healing unfolds, not because you found the perfect phrase, but because you stopped needing one. You surrendered the need to explain and entered the simplicity of experience. This is also why so many practices emphasize paradox, because sometimes the only way to describe the truth is to contradict it. You are everything, and you are nothing. You are the ocean and the wave. You are the speaker and the silence between the words. Let that confuse your mind. Let it break open your logic. Because the mind cannot grasp what the heart already knows. You are not meant to figure it out. You are meant to feel it in. To let the mystery be alive in you. To let the body lead moment by moment into the places where words dissolve. That's where transformation lives. Not in the clever explanation, but in the quiet encounter. The breath you're taking right now, it doesn't need a name, it doesn't need a purpose, it simply is. And that is enough. In that breath, you are whole. In that breath, you are connected to every being who has ever lived. All of us breathing together, trying to name what cannot be named, trying to live what can only be lived. So speak gently, listen deeply, but don't be afraid to go beyond both. Rest in that space before the word, before the thought, before the story. That space is who you are. That space is home. We tend to think of the body as a thing solid, static, fixed in space. Something we can control, something we can own. We call it my body, this body, as if it were a possession, separate from who we truly are. But what if that's not how the body actually works? What if your body isn't an object at all, but a living process, a constant unfolding, a dance of energies always in motion? Right now, even as you sit or lie here, your body is changing, cells are dying, new ones are forming, blood is flowing, nerves are firing, hormones are shifting, breath is rising and falling. You're not the same person you were yesterday, literally. The truth is, your body isn't a frozen statue. It's a river, a living, breathing river of sensations and signals, of thoughts passing through, of emotions visiting and leaving, of tissues repairing, adjusting, evolving, without you needing to direct a thing. You are not the driver of your body. You are the body. And more than that, you are the awareness of the body, the space in which the entire experience unfolds. But that's easy to forget because we live in a world that trains us to see only surfaces, to view the body as a product, a shape, a look, a project, to believe that if we make it look right, perform right, behave right, then we'll finally feel whole. But wholeness doesn't come from shaping the body. It comes from sensing it. It comes from returning to the raw, honest experience of what's alive right now. Try it with me. Bring your awareness to your hand, not to think about it, but to feel it from the inside. Notice the tingling, the weight, the warmth or coolness. Now bring that awareness to your feet, to your jaw, to your chest. Can you feel how each part isn't isolated? Can you feel the way sensation connects, how it flows, expands, shifts without asking for permission? This is what it means to be a process. Your body is not made of separate parts. It's an ecosystem, a living field of intelligence. And when you begin to feel it that way, not as a collection of things, but as a flow, you begin to heal. Because pain and tension often come when that flow is blocked, when energy can't move, when emotions are trapped, when breath is shallow, when awareness is absent. But awareness itself is the medicine. It doesn't fix in the way we normally think. It softens, it illuminates, it allows. And in that allowing, the process rebalances itself. This is why mindfulness is not just a relaxation technique. It's a revolution. It turns you inward, not to disconnect from the world, but to re-enter your life from the inside out. It teaches you to feel again not just your body, but your being. The more you feel, the more you see. Your body isn't something you have. It's something you are becoming in every moment. And in that becoming, you're not alone. You are in relationship with everything. The breath of the world, the pull of gravity, the energy of those around you, the wisdom encoded in the earth. Nothing in you is isolated. Your heartbeat is in conversation with your breath. Your breath is in conversation with your nervous system. Your nervous system is in conversation with your thoughts, with your emotions, with the way you move through the day. You are a dialogue, a constantly shifting pattern of awareness, sensation, and presence. And if that sounds abstract, just return to the breath. Because the breath is where the truth of process becomes undeniable. You breathe in, something enters. You breathe out, something leaves. You didn't invent this rhythm. You don't control it. But you are it. The breath doesn't ask for your approval. It simply moves. And when you follow it, when you rest your attention on it, you fall back into the deeper rhythm of life. That's the rhythm your body has always known. The one that says, you are not broken. You are not separate. You are not frozen in time. You are changing, you are adapting, you are healing not by force but by nature. The body doesn't need perfection. It needs presence. It needs space to unfold, to release, to rewire itself. And presence is what you offer when you practice mindfulness, not as a technique, but as a way of remembering what's already here. You might feel the breath, you might feel tension, you might feel nothing at all. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel is real. And whatever is real is worthy of your awareness. So let yourself be soft. Let the labels fall away. You are not a body part. You are not a diagnosis. You are not a project in need of fixing. You are a river. You are a process. You are an unfolding moment of life, expressing itself through form. And the more you come back to that truth again and again, the more deeply you begin to live. Not just in thought, but in feeling, in presence, in wholeness. You don't need to figure out how to be present. You already are. You don't need to fix the body. You just need to feel it, because your body is already intelligent, already flowing, already home. There's a place inside you so close, so quiet, so simple that most people miss it entirely. It's not a concept. It's not a belief. It's not even a thought. It's pure knowing. Raw, alive, wordless knowing. And it's available to you not someday, not if you work hard enough, not after you read one more book, but right now. The doorway is attention, the path is your own body. Because the moment you stop trying to understand the body and simply feel it, you step out of the mind's idea of life and into life itself. You stop describing your experience and start inhabiting it. And this is what mindfulness has been pointing to for thousands of years. It's not about becoming calm. It's not about clearing your thoughts. It's not about reaching some perfect meditative state. It's about remembering how to be here fully without needing to name what's happening. Because the truth is, language slices the world into pieces. Useful pieces, yes, but not always true ones. You say, this is my body, this is my thought, this is my feeling. But when you close your eyes, when you breathe, when you soften into presence, do those boundaries remain or do they blur? The breath moves and you feel it. But who's feeling it? Is it your body, your mind, your awareness? At a certain depth of presence, those divisions start to dissolve. You are no longer a self observing a body. You are the body. You are the awareness. You are the unfolding moment, inseparable from breath, sensation, and silence. This is what non-conceptual awareness feels like. It's not about spacing out. It's about waking up to the warmth in your hands, to the pulsing in your chest, to the tingling behind your eyes, to the constant movement inside you that has nothing to do with thought and everything to do with life. Try it right now. Drop the story, drop the labels, drop the commentary, and just feel. What does your jaw feel like from the inside? What temperature is your breath? Where do you feel the most sensation without naming it as good or bad? Rest your awareness there. Stay with it. Let it speak in its own way. No words, just presence. You might notice something surprising. The longer you stay, the quieter the mind becomes, not because you forced it into silence, but because something deeper has your attention now. The experience of being alive has taken center stage. This is the real power of meditation. Not in fixing you, but in revealing you beneath the stories, beneath the roles, beneath even your identity. What remains when you stop talking to yourself? Stillness, sensation, breath, awareness. No labels, no separation, just being. And the more you practice entering this space, even for a few moments at a time, the more natural it becomes. You begin to carry it with you into conversations, into movement, into rest. Eventually, the boundary between meditation and life disappears. You are simply here alive, embodied, aware. And something beautiful happens when you live this way. Your body softens, your nervous system settles, your breath deepens. Why? Because when awareness meets the body without judgment or agenda, the body feels safe. It doesn't need to defend, it doesn't need to hold, it can unfold, relax, release. This is the healing most people are chasing through external means. Yet it begins within. It begins with a simple shift from thinking about experience to feeling experience directly, from trying to control the body to listening to it like an old friend, from describing the present moment to living it. And in that shift, something else dissolves. The illusion of separation. There is no longer you watching your body. There is no longer you doing the breathing. There is just breath, just sensation, just awareness moving as form. This is non-duality, not as a philosophy, but as felt truth. And from this place, everything changes. You start to hear the body not as a collection of parts, but as a song fluid, interconnected, endlessly expressing the rhythm of life. You begin to speak less and feel more. You begin to react less and respond more. You begin to move not from habit, but from presence. And life starts to feel simpler, not easier, not always more comfortable, but more real. And that realness, that intimacy with what's here, that's the foundation of true freedom. Not the freedom to escape the body, but the freedom to inhabit it fully. To be so present in your breath, your bones, your belly, that there is no need to explain anything anymore, because presence is the explanation. So let this be your practice. Come back to sensation, come back to breath, come back to the space where words are not needed, and in that space let your body speak in silence. Because sometimes what cannot be said is the very thing you've been longing to hear. If this journey opens something in you, even just a breath's worth, a softening in the chest, a stillness behind the eyes, a quiet recognition that your body holds more wisdom than you realized, then don't rush away. Stay here a little longer. Feel the space inside you untouched by words, unbothered by thought. This space isn't new, it's where you've always been. You just needed to remember how to feel it. And if this video helped you remember, helped you come home to yourself, even for a few moments, then let that remembering ripple outward. Share this with someone who needs it. Someone who's been trying to solve their pain with more thinking, more pushing, more fixing. Remind them gently that sometimes the healing begins not with answers, but with silence. And if you want to continue this path together, this path of feeling instead of forcing, of presence instead of performance, of truth instead of perfection, then I invite you to subscribe. This space is here for you to pause, to breathe, to reconnect. There are more meditations waiting, more practices, more ways to explore the